It's the July 2024 Boomer Music Experience with my good friend, Randy Halmo. Randy, who are we talking about today?
Well, Dave, we are talking about a gal that has really, in the 60s, exploded in the music circle a lot more than I think most people would think. Her name is Petula Clark.
Why do I know that name? You've said that. Wait,
Yeah,
did you?
Petula Clark.
You brought her
She's
up once
also,
before. Did you? You've met her, haven't you?
yes, I have. Yes.
I remember
When,
that wait a minute. Nope, I'm not going to let you get on your rant yet. You got to tell the story before we go anywhere. You've met Petula. You've met this lady, so I
yes.
need to know some details.
Yeah. Yeah, Petula Clark. A really interesting biography on her, which I'll just briefly hit the highlights. Then we're going to take a look at her beginning of her career. Then also the European fame she had, which I was never aware of, and same with a lot of other folks. Then we're going to briefly touch on her global fame, and then from the years 1970 to 2000, and of course 2000 to present life.
So wait. You still didn't tell me. When did you meet her? How did this happen?
That was, I met her 1974. It was at the Terminal 2 Air Canada, and she was coming through the customs checkpoint, and she had a performance that evening. It was either Carnegie Hall in downtown Toronto or also in downtown Toronto, the O'Keefe Centre. And by that time, she had at least 14 or 15 number one hits
Wow.
that reached the top of the Billboard Top 100. So she was well accomplished in her career when I met her at the airport. Said hello, congratulated her, and I told her, I said to her, and this, she got a real chuckle out of this. I said, "You are truly our downtown girl." We both started
Referring
laughing.
to her hit.
Sweet gal, very sweet.
I gotta ask, because working at the airport, did you ever get nervous meeting the stars?
Um, I met a lot of different folks, not only artists, but also some movie stars, just kind of a general smattering. And of course, being right in back of the customs secondary point, like I saw everyone
Come
coming
through.
through,
Yeah.
those, getting off the aircraft, coming through Terminal 2. And I did work in Terminal 1 too, but Terminal 2 was the dominant terminal at that time for recording artists, for bands, and movie stars coming through.
That's pretty cool.
Interesting time. Slice of life.
Yes. And I think, and it's so good because you have that nuance where you remember things so well, and getting to share these stories of the folks that you've met in your life. And then we get to dive into their musical history. And this is exciting. So fire away, buddy. I want to hear all about this.
Yeah, it's great. So, Petula Clark. Now, Petula Clark, that's her stage name. I want to share with the folks, first of all. Her stage name. She was born Sally Clark on November 15th, 1932, and she was born in Ewell, England. Now, her parents, Doris and Leslie Clark, both parents were nurses, okay, in the medical profession at the Long Grove Hospital in Epsom. Clark's mother had Welsh ancestry, and of course, her father was English. Now, here's the catch, and we really got to share this with the audience, Dave. They'll get a kick out of this one. So, Sally Clark. Okay, well, Petula Clark? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Well, Clark's stage name became Petula, Petula. And this name was invented by her father, and he joked about it for years because it was a combination of the two names of two former ex-girlfriends. One of his girlfriends was called Pet. The other girlfriend was called Eula, hence Petula Clark. Now, how good is that?
What a great story.
Oh my
Wonderful.
God. Terrific. Really nice. So, Petula, I like calling her Petula because I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Uh, her genres were popular music, theater, and film. And here again, look at all of the singers, Dave, that um, started out in church choirs,
Yeah.
got their basic foundation and start, and went on to superstardom. Well, for example, Whitney Houston. There's
Yeah.
another one, just as an example. So Petula, she grew up in Abercanney, Wales. Now, things were really tough. They were in a house with no electricity or running water, and they had a toilet in the garden. Her grandfather was a coal miner. Her first ever live audience was at Collier's Arms in Abercanney. So she recalls living just outside of London during the Blitz during World War II. They watched the dogfights in the air, running to air raid shelters with her sister. And later, when she was 8 years young, this is important, she joined other children to record messages with the BBC to broadcast to members of their families in the armed forces. And the recording event was done in the Citrian Theater, which was an underground theater that was very safe. And when the air raid sirens went off, other children got very upset. And a call went out for someone to step forward and to sing to calm them down. Enter Petula. So Petula volunteered, and they liked her voice so much. In the control room, they recorded her and her song. And this song, World War II, is the most popular song. The song was entitled Mighty Like a Rose. So here again, as a child, Clark sang in the chapel choir, showed a talent for, she could do an impersonation of Vera Lynn like nobody's business. And of course, Vera Lynn, she was the World War II gal also. Her father introduced her to theater in 1944 when he took her to see Flora Robson, and that was in the production of Mary Stuart. She later recalled at that performance, I made up my mind then and there, I'm going to be an actress, she said. And she wanted to be Ingrid Bergman more than anything else in the world. How good is that? Now, her first public appearance was as a singer. And in 1945, she performed with an orchestra in the entrance hall of Benthall's department store in Kingston upon the Thames. And for that, she didn't get paid, but they gave her a tin of coffee, okay, which is okay because her mom and dad loved coffee. And get this, she received a gold wristwatch.
Oh,
It
cool.
wasn't plated, it
Oh.
was gold,
What a
10 or
keepsake.
14 karat.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's take a look at her career start. As I mentioned earlier, she began at the age of 7. She appeared on radio, in film, in print, on television, and on recordings. At the tender age of 7 years young. In October of 1942, at 9 years old, Petula made her radio debut while attending a BBC broadcast with her father. She was trying to send a message to her uncle, who was stationed overseas, but the broadcast was delayed by the air raid. During the bombing, the producer requested that someone performed, here again, to settle the jittery theater audience. Once again, enter Petula Clark. And again, she did a rendering version. Oh boy, talk about rendering version of the song Mighty Like a Rose. So here she's involved quite a bit trying to calm people during the World War II,
Yeah.
the air raids. unbelievable. This is something that I never knew. How about yourself, Dave?
I had no clue. I didn't even, the great part about this is she's using her skills to help others at an early
Yeah.
age, which is incredible and in a calming way. So, yeah, I mean, stardom's around the corner here because she's already, like you said, she's theater, she's TV, she's radio. So she's already doing everything that she needs to get a good start. And it sounds like she's very, very mature for her age. And during the war, I'm sure a lot of kids were. You had to grow
Oh,
up pretty
yeah,
quick.
for sure. Yeah. Now we'll take a look, Dave, with our audience at her European fame. Okay, European fame. In 1957, Petula was invited to appear at the Paris Olympia, where, despite her misgivings and a bad cold, she was received with acclaim. How good is that? She's fighting a bad cold.
Yeah.
She still performed. So, the following day, she was invited to the office of Vogue Records to discuss a contract. There, she met her future longtime publicist, collaborator, and husband, Claude Wolf. Wolf. Clark was attracted immediately to him, and when she was told that she would be working with him, she signed with Vogue, the Vogue label, and she agreed instantly. In 1960, she embarked on a concert tour of France and Belgium, and she remained close friends with Wolf until his death in 2004. Now, gradually, she moved further into the continent of Europe, recording in German, recording in French, recording in Italian, and also in Spanish. So here, she is totally fluent in about 6 different languages. Like, how
That's incredible.
good is that? Wow. She focused her new career in France. She continued to achieve hit records also, though, in the UK. In 1961, her recording of Sailor became her first #1 hit in the UK. So here we are. We're starting to gravitate from, well, Ingrid Bergman as an actress to certainly an accomplished artist. So, in 1963, she wrote the soundtrack for the French crime film called Daggers Drawn. I won't try and pronounce that in French.
Okay.
It was released in 1964. Clark was the subject of This Is Your Life in February of 1964. Also in April of 1975, and here again, 75, this is about the time when I met her coming through the airport. And of course, March 1996, she became the only person to receive the television tribute 3 times.
I did not know that either.
That's better than
cool.
good.
Yeah.
By 1964, Petula's British recording career was starting to flounder, and composer-arranger Tony Hatch, one of the best in the business for a long time, composer-arranger Tony Hatch, who had been assisting her with her work for Vogue Records in France and Pi Records in UK, flew her home to Paris with new song material he would hope would interest her, but she found none of it appealing. Desperately, though, he played for her a few chords of an incomplete song that he had been inspired by his recent first trip to New York City. Hey, this sounds interesting. Now, upon hearing the medley, Petula told him if he could write lyrics as good as the medley, then she would record the tune. And that's exactly what she did. And that tune was Downtown. Hatch has subsequently denied originally offering Downtown to the Drifters. Drifters, a good band at that time, but no, Petula Clark, she owns Downtown.
Yep,
this was made to be. Now, neither Clark, who was performing in Canada, there we go, when the song first received major airplay, nor Hatch realized the effect this song would have on their respective careers. Mega. Released in 4 separate languages in the late 1964, Downtown was a success in the UK, of course, France, in both English and French, the Netherlands, Germany, Australia, Italy, Rhodesia, and I can go on and on and on, right across the world. Downtown went to number 1 on the American charts, that's Billboard, January of 1965, sold 3 million copies in the United States. Okay, but it also sold 1 million copies right here in Canada. So there we go. So Petula, this song Downtown, really pole vaulted her musical career as a dominant force, not only in music, but a dominant force for a female artist.
And think
What
of
are
some
your
of the
thoughts on that, Dave?
Well, I was thinking some of her competition at that time. You got the Rolling Stones, who we talked about last month. You got the Beatles, Beach Boys. Like this woman's stepping up to the plate and playing with legends and getting number ones. Like that's
Yeah.
incredible at that time. And you got to think, when you put it in perspective, that would have been extremely hard to do at that point, especially with
Mhm.
so much music coming out, and it's such a golden era of music. And to stand forward and be number one, we don't give her enough credit. We don't.
Absolutely. Downtown was the first of 15 consecutive top 40 hits that Petula achieved in the United States, including, and I know a lot of these songs, I won't go down the whole list, but just to mention a few, My Love, great song. Her second U.S. number 1, Sign of the Times,
Oh
I
yeah.
Couldn't Live Without Your Love, August of 1966, and I Know a Place. Those are just to mention a few. Her recording successes led to frequent appearances on American variety programs like, well, Ed Sullivan for sure,
Yeah.
Dean Martin. She had guest shots on Hullabaloo and Shindig. Great television. The Hollywood Palace, and the inclusion in musical specials such as The Best on Record and The Rodgers and Hart Today. In 1968, NBC invited Petula to host her own special in the US, and in doing so, she made television history. While singing a duet on The Path of Glory, which was kind of an anti-war song that she had composed, she sung that with none other than Harry Belafonte.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
How good is that?
Got to find a clip of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Petula, later the host of 2 more specials, the Petula Clark Show, shown on both NBC and CBC. Now, this was early in the early 70s, Dave. And one for ABC, which served as a pilot for a projected weekly series. She starred in the BBC television series This is Petula Clark, and that aired from 1966 to 1968. So here she's getting into the television genre. Wow, what an accomplished woman.
Everything.
Unbelievable. Now, I want to focus on, we'll kind of touch a little bit more on that because I've got some other dates here that are preceding that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tear a page out of the script here, Dave.
No problem.
And we will now take a look at just so many genres this woman has accomplished and done very well with.
Yeah, and when you start
Now
looking
we're
at
going to
her body
take
of
a
work,
look at
wow.
1970 to year 2000.
Okay.
Now, during the early 1970s, Petula had chart hits on both sides of the Atlantic with Medley Man, The Song of My Life, that was 1971. And I'm not going to go through all of these songs, but
No.
she also recorded in 1972, this is very important, the wedding song, There Is Love. Now, the reason why I mention this song, I still get requests for this song as a first dance at weddings. Now, and this is Petula Clark's version.
Okay.
Now, the original version was made by, we remember, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Paul Stuckey. Paul Stuckey had the original version of the wedding song, which also, it's a wonderful song. The lyrics, it's made for a loving couple at their special wedding day.
Cool.
So, but here again, Petula Clark's version, I think equally as good as Paul Stuckey. I hope I'm not offending any Paul Stuckey fans out there. Anyway, that's how I feel. In the mid-1970s, she scaled back her career to devote more time to her family. And on December 31st of 1976, she performed her hit song Downtown on the BBC's Jubilee of Music, celebrating British popular music for Queen Elizabeth II upon her impending Silver Jubilee. She also hosted the television series The Sound of Petula from 1972 to 1974, and through the 1970s, she made numerous guest appearances on variety comedy, game show televisions. She appeared as a special guest star in an episode of The Muppet Show in 1977.
Cool.
Wow.
I have to look that one up. That's excellent.
The Muppets. And in 1980, she made her last film appearance in the British production of Neverland. So here again, actively involved in television. Wow, just a wonderful career. Now, as I had mentioned to you, we all know that disco was heavy music, good music. 70 started in 75 right through until 81. A new disco remix of Downtown called Downtown 88, wow, 10 years after the disco, was released in 1988, registering her first UK single success chart since 1972. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. That is cool.
A disco remix. Boy,
16 years later.
I want to find that. I want to play that. That'd be an interesting mix. Wow. In 1998, Petula Clark was made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, and she was crowned by Queen Elizabeth II.
Wow.
And in 2012, jumping ahead a little bit, she was installed as Commander of the Order of the Arts of France by the French Minister of Culture. So France just totally fell in love with Petula Clark.
What an opportunity, eh? She's so worldly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she seems to be able to conquer whatever she puts her mind to, and she did it globally, which is unheard of.
Oh, absolutely. Now we take a look at from 2000 to present, and I've got a number of back issues there I'll mention. In both 1998 and 2002, Petula toured extensively throughout the UK. In 2000, she presented a self-written one-woman show highlighting her life and career to a large critical audience acclaim in St. Denis Theatre in Montreal. She was kind of booed a bit due to the bilingualism, which I thought was kind of funny, performing in Quebec. I still to this day really don't understand that. Anyway, she also appeared at the Hummingbird Center in Toronto. She appeared at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was a tribute to the late Peggy Lee. Following another British concert tour in the spring of 2005, in May, she contributed to the V45 televised BBC concert in Trafalgar Square, which she sang A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square. That was one huge hit during World War II. And of course, she appeared on the Andy Williams Show. Andy, oh yeah. And that was at the Moon River Theater in Branson, Missouri. Of course, Moon River, that song is Andy Williams. That's his signature song for sure. So here we have quite a interesting biography of Petula Clark. I just want to review, Dave, some of the other mentionings in the years 2000 to about 2010. Now, in addition to Petula Clark, one of her best friends, ready for this? One of her best friends, Julie Andrews
Oh, wow.
from The Sound of Music.
There you go. Yeah.
Julie Andrews. Yep. She knew her very, very well. In the Reader's Digest, they named one of her songs the title of the CDs. This is a multi-CD.
Yeah.
Reader's Digest, This Is My Song. And that's a wonderful song, too. Now, speaking of French, she also teamed up on numerous occasions with one of her best friends, Charles Aznavour. Charles Aznavour. And of course, his big hit was The Old Fashioned Way. I still get lots of requests for that song. He's got a good French voice, but he sings it in English. And that went to quadruple platinum 6 weeks after it was released.
I didn't know that. I've never heard
Charles
of that. Charles
Aznavour. So this gal, Petula Clark, she's just a wonderful ball of fire, a true inspiration for musical artists, for females coming up in later years. Just unbelievable. Her life was so full. Music is the answer. She was presented in 2007, Dave. It's the TV Music Award for the best use of a song in a television program for Downtown in the ABC series called Lost. She completed a concert tour. She completed that concert tour of England and Wales. That was a heavy constructed tour, and that was in the summer of 2008.
Yeah.
And then she did concerts in Switzerland, Philippines. So you can see with her European concerts, this was much a focal point of her career as it was for North America. And it was quite well done. She also appeared in Montreal. It was the Montreal Jazz Festival on July 14, 2008. And that was in celebration of Quincy Jones's 75th birthday. How good is that?
It's excellent.
Wow. Unbelievable. So that pretty well caps the story of Petula Clark. Very interesting story. Just so full of music, the people she's met, the stars, the television programs. She has influenced so many people around the world during her prime time. And unbelievable. She's in her early 90s right now. So, and she's still going strong. She's not on tour, but she does take time to answer emails, to answer phone calls about her career. And isn't that the ultimate? Isn't that what every artist aspires to want and need through the many years of hard work? What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
When you started the show and you mentioned her, and I was like, I thought Downtown. Like, honestly, that's the only song that came to my head right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of forget that these mega talented people have such long careers that we don't even see or understand, right? That goes on behind the scenes, where the music came from, why they got into that field, what drives them, And you're talking about someone that grew up during the war, World War II, mm-hmm. who saw all this and understands it, and her language skills. I had no clue. Oh. Phenomenal. Like, this is a brilliant woman who took mm-hmm. the time to, bless us with all this great music. And I think that's the part that kind of just blows my mind, is until you started to inform me, I had no clue. Like, I really didn't. And I shame on me, because I consider myself, wanting to learn always about music. And this is one where I learned a ton. So I really got to say thanks, Randy, for bringing it to life and bringing it open and showing people that listen to our show and watch our show, who she was and what she did for music. Incredible.
Oh, incredible. She truly, Dave, lived her life through music.
Yeah.
And with her life experiences, wow,
Yeah, you can't beat
I
it.
can't even imagine. Um, Speaking, one other point about Petula, she was one of the cameo artists in John Lennon and Yoko Ono's Give Peace a Chance. She
Oh,
actually sang portions of that song
check it out.
during the recording of that song with John Lennon and Okonoko.
I didn't know that.
How good is that?
Is
Wow.
it's great. Is
And that was
downtown?
in Montreal when
Yeah,
John Lennon
yeah,
and Yoko Ono were
love it.
in Montreal.
Is she still requested? Is downtown still requested today?
Yeah, still get many requests for it. More so at the seniors dances.
Yeah,
That's
understandably.
that song. I guarantee you, all the request cards that I pass out on the tables, they bring them up to me, and I play them as the tempo permits. Downtown is on those lists all the time.
That's cool.
Kid you not, Dave. Downtown. It's the lyrics. It's a song that you can slow dance to and really listen closely to the lyrics, as are many of her other songs too. This is my song. I couldn't live without your love, just to mention a few. My love. Uh, she really had it all. But the basic foundation, once again, I have to reiterate, was the getting into the church choir, getting her start, her foundation of singing. And she truly has been, over the many, many decades, one of the premier female artists in music today, in different genres. That really says it all.
It does.
Petula Clark, one of the best.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this today, Randy Halmo from Classy FM. Keep up the great work, and I can't wait for next month.
Sounds good, Dave. Look forward to seeing you. Have a good week. Thank you.